From the art of the deal to keeping it real. Live from the Simply Vegas studios, it's The Power Move with John Gafford.
What's happening, everybody? Welcome again to another fun-filled edition of The Power Move with John Gafford. With me, as always, you're not even. Are you done drinking, Colt? Are you just done with it now?
I told you guys.
Are you completely done drinking?
I am getting ready for the Olympics, next Summer Olympics.
The Equestrian Olympics.
No question. Well, we got some topics.
If anybody can actually ride a horse and is good enough to ride a horse in the Olympics, do me a favor. Can you reach out to us and just let us know how absolutely ridiculous it is that Colt thinks the horse does 97% of the work?
Are you kidding? I am named perfectly for that sport.
No,
the endorsement deals I'll get, everything.
The only endorsement, you need to get that. What was it in the Blades of Glory, the mane and tail, whatever it was, because you need to grow that hair back out is what you need to do. I mean, let's face it.
Greatest is that what the greatest?
Look, just because it's
ever?
called Great Clips doesn't mean that it's going to give you a great clip.
Oh my
God. That's a little
What
high and tight today.
Oh, super high and tight. And I
Little
paid
high
way
and
too
tight.
much. Dude, I paid too much fucking money. Did we hear? It's like, what was that noise in the background? Who was that?
And speaking of maybe a bad idea, Chris Connell not with us today, but we brought in real estate expert, one of the number one guys in my company, my man, the king of Henderson Luxury, Eric Gorton. What's up, buddy?
What's up, my man?
Welcome to the Power Move. And I'm actually glad you're here, bro, because today we're going to talk about something a little different than we normally we normally talk about all kinds of nonsense. But today I did an Instagram story and I asked specifically, doing the podcast today, what should we talk about going into detail? And I got two people said the same thing. They want to talk about the importance of building a brand within the real estate industry and how you get started building a brand as a new agent. But first of all, I got to say, for those who went to the game last night, I mean, neither one of you guys went. I went to the game last night. I'm going to tell you, absolutely amazing. Winners and losers from last night's football game.
Well, first off, the game he's talking about is the Raiders.
The Raider game.
Monday
Raider
Night
Nation
Football.
from Monday Night Football here in Las Vegas.
Final was insane. I did watch the final.
You watched the end of the game.
I watched the end of it, and it was unbelievable.
Yeah, it was. I gotta tell you, being there, it was one of the most electric sporting events I've ever been at. It was interesting as you get there. You had the anti-vaxxer people that were protesting the stadium, protesting, I guess, the Raiders wanting to have you get vaccinated before you come in. They were protesting that.
We don't have counsel here today, so let's not go too deep.
No, I'm not going to go too deep on it.
Enforce it, though. I mean, was there someone there basically checking your card?
Yeah, cards?
I heard people weren't also. So if you don't know, you had to be vaccinated, go to the game.
Yeah, well, the Raiders are requiring you be vaccinated to go to the games in person. You didn't have to wear a mask, which was awesome to see a stadium full of people unmasked. But here's the thing. And I'm going to say as we talk about this, which is, look, I believe in personal freedom. I'm all about the personal freedom, which is I believe you have the choice whether or not you should get vaccinated or not. I believe that is a personal choice that you hold. But I also believe that it is a business's right to require you, if they feel strongly the other way about it, to require you to have to do it. You can't have it both ways. You know what I mean? You can't say it's my right to not have to do this, and then it's my right to, but I should be able to go to your place and you shouldn't get to tell me I have to do that.
Policy is policy.
Yeah, 100% agree with that. And I think last night what you saw a lot of people and anti-vaxxers out there. And again, I'm not saying good or bad, left or right. I'm saying just freedom of personal choice is what I'm talking about. And I think the anti-vaxxers definitely are falling in the losing category last night, because the whole idea of, well, if we just band together, they'll break under our whim. Yeah. Bro, there was 65,000 people in that place last night.
You are not breaking a business. No. Everybody sits there and says, well, we're breaking. First off, you already paid for your tickets.
Yeah.
So they've already been paid.
Well, and the people that didn't want to do that, they could give them back. That was an option for the Raiders. They could forego their season this year.
But there is, for every one ticket, there's 30, 40 people that would take that ticket off.
It was rocking. I'm going to give it up to the Baltimore fans last night. I will definitely take my hat off to them. Unlike the Seattle Seahawks fans who were passing out, throwing up everywhere you want to look in the stands because they did not know how to drink. Baltimore fans, congratulations. I saw none of that last night. You guys held it together. It was very impressive. So it's good job on that aspect.
You know what I love? So we went to lunch with Scott today, who's another agent, and we started talking about Ice Cube and Too Short, and he's like, Ice Cube was there? I'm like,
yeah, dude, he played halftime.
he played the whole halftime, but that was the most important thing.
A lot different than what we thought it was going to be.
Yeah, yeah. We thought it was gonna be Imagine Dragons, and they busted out. They busted out with Too Short, which I love when they play Too Short. I love when they drop that because that's like you want to know who the ex strippers are in the crowd. Just look around for the girls, for the girls that are singing all the words to blow the whistle. Yeah, honey, I know you used to go by Jasmine and shake it on Satellite Show Bar 2. I know that you said. Not that there's anything wrong with that.
Oh, come on.
Not that there's anything wrong. No, we love all people, whether you take your clothes off for money or not. Colt's neighbors encourage that type of behavior.
It doesn't make Colt a bad guy.
No. And I went to the
You know what?
I
just realized we have to talk about? Oh my God. I didn't even realize this way. You and Eric have something in common. Before we even get to real estate, man, you guys have something amazing in common.
What's that? I mean, other than good looking.
You're both neighbors to alternative lifestyle porn stars.
Okay, we're not even going to talk about it.
Wait,
How
you
can
are
we not talk about it?
Oh man, that's all I live for is my neighbors.
For those who didn't know, Colt lived next to a gay porn star for years, and we did a whole show where basically, if you look back in history, pros and cons
of living. Pros and cons of I have the ex gay porn star neighbor.
Yes.
And now I got two ladies that just lay out naked.
We'll call them ladies of the evening.
Night. Yep.
So
we're doing a pros and cons. They're definitely ladies.
See, there's the rub, isn't it, Eric?
Yeah, where are we going?
There's the rub, isn't it?
This is Eric Gorton's opinion, not Colt.
No, there's nothing wrong with that. But Eric had some hot chicks laying out next door to him at that pole that moved in, right?
Yes.
Had some hot chicks.
And yes.
And you turned over and they weren't.
Turns out
chicks.
Turns out there was a lot more sausage in the party than we thought was.
Right. And they actually participate in the industry to where I think the best part of the whole story, I'm sorry, Shelley, if you ever hear this, I had to talk about it. I think it's the best part. So Eric and his wife actually used the Google machine, right, to look this person up.
That's what you don't do. I have to tell you that from experience.
To look up this person that's living next to them, looks up the Google machine and finds some of the films that this person started.
Some of the footage, and it just, it was certainly a shock, to say the least.
Shelley goes into full, this is CGI.
Yeah. Well, no. Shelley was like, this is fake. And I don't know how they concocted this.
Yes. But did they concoct it?
I see what you did.
Every pun intended.
But so Shelley thinks they've now solicited the work of Industrial Light and Magic.
Exactly.
That whole industry. Hollywood's now come in to make this.
There's a lot of Shinlin going on.
Yeah, to make this 6-second or 6-minute porn clip on whatever website.
If you ever question what your neighbor does, don't Google or put it in Twitter. Twitter's where I got it.
Oh, that's where you got it?
Yeah, because I'm like, this guy's got a couple million followers on Instagram.
Yeah.
But I wonder how many on Twitter. Now, I didn't find out, but I found out a lot of, I know him a lot better than I want to.
And that's when the magic happens. That's completely when the magic happens. Well,
Eric, before we get into anything, do you feel like I could be an Olympian on two sports? God. Do you think I could be what are they called? Speed walker?
See, you don't even know what it is.
Speed walker?
A
speed walker.
You want to be a speed,
a speed walker.
There's no way.
No, I've seen you walk. And
Okay, all right. Secondly,
both in and out of intoxication.
Okay. Well, secondly, being an equestrian rider. Now,
oh God,
what? Here, listen this out, Eric. Listen, because you're going to agree with me. The horse does 95% of the work. So if I spent a year learning how to ride a horse, it's all about the horse.
Not necessarily.
He's
from the city. If you haven't heard from his accent,
I'm not from the city.
Well, okay,
and I probably grew up closer to farms than you did.
And so you could also be. Is there tandem horseback riding? Mean you're going to go equestrian?
There's no tandem horseback riding. Although, you know what? Maybe there should be.
Maybe there should be.
Maybe there
Colt and Eric,
Olympic event.
Oh, maybe there should be.
All right. Well, sorry, but I'm still going to go for my dreams.
So to the person that sent in today that said, hey, can you guys talk about how to build a brand as a new real estate agent? So far, we've talked about anti-vaxxing, transvestite porn star neighbors, and you're a question you're going to
dreams.
I feel like every show divulges to those 3 topics pretty much is how it goes. So,
have you, we're episode 11, I think much. 10 out of 11.
Pretty much have gone there.
So, Eric, what you don't know is you need to throw out some really scrambled words, like some really smart words, because Chris always teaches us.
I've watched it, and I don't think I can hold a candle to what Connell brings.
Yeah, I think he makes up words that we're just not smart enough to know.
He is the most interesting man on earth.
Oh,
he is. I think, and
like
I think
right now he is riding a tiger. That's why he's not in here.
Well, actually, no.
Is he out there?
No. Caitlin broke her ankle last night, and just doing something in the kitchen. And you know what? This is why I love Caitlin. This is why I love Connell's wife. Still, wheelchair to the game last night.
She still went.
She went to the game in a wheelchair last night.
Right after
I actually called him yesterday, and he said, I just dropped her off at the hospital to get x-rays, and I'm going to go back in a couple hours. My wife wouldn't let me leave the bedside. Nevertheless, drop her off, leave, and come back.
See, my wife would do that to me, though. My wife, if I could break my neck, and I think my wife would be like, I'll be back in 2 weeks. I'll be 2 weeks, see how you're doing.
In Mexico.
Yeah, in Mexico.
Judith? No, there's no question that she would do that to you. I personally think, my belief is, potentially Connell broke her leg. Yes. Not like domestic violence, but as a way to get better parking at the stadium, because I can see him.
Maybe threw some balls on the floor.
Yeah, so a little smash. She falls. He's like, no, I got the handicap placard, and now we got parking.
And I didn't tell you we're going to Disneyland tomorrow. He already had it. He's at Disneyland.
Had that planned. Now she's in the scooter. Yep. They're going to Disneyland. Yep. That's it. Well, let's get into it, boys, and let's talk about real estate a little bit, because, I mean, obviously we've got 3 real estate pros in here, and if you are in real estate, great, listen to this. If you're not in real estate, pay attention to, because there's lessons in this for every profession or anything that you want to do. It's not just about being in the business that we're in. Nope. But it seems like real estate is the business that everybody thinks is going to be very simple to break into. Look at all the money these guys on $1 million listing are making. I'm going to go do that just because I get a license, and it's going to make me wildly successful. I used to do
not true then?
No, it's not true. But I used to do something several years ago. I haven't done it several years. Back when I was friendlier with the board and not necessarily as adversarial as I tend to be with them currently. I used to do a new agent symposium, and in that symposium, I would come out and I would talk about, these are things that are going to get you crushed in the business. Now, the first thing you have to understand, if you're thinking of getting in the real estate business, is when you go in that classroom and that person is standing up front. I'm talking about to get your license. That's the classroom I'm talking about. Number one, they're not going to teach you anything in that class that has anything to do with selling real estate. I promise you, Eric, how many times have you used the meets and bounds method to close a deal?
Goose egg.
0. Just as it's just not something you're ever going to use. So keep real estate school in mind for what it is. You're learning to pass a test. That's what you're doing. The second thing you need to understand is 90% of the people in that room. So if there's 100 of you in real estate school today, 90 of them have something in common. Colt, do you know what that is?
They are on their last leg of life.
No. They won't be in the business in 12 months. They'll be
That's the one thing they have.
Hence why they're in the class.
Mathematically, they will be completely out of the business inside of 1 year. That's the number. So when you look at the low statistics of success for what real estate agents actually do, understand going into it, that's the hill you're climbing. That's the road you're going to climb. Now, the next thing I'm going to say is, if you're becoming a real estate agent, is where you go to work is incredibly important. And you have a couple of choices of how you could do this. All right. And I don't know what you guys' feelings on this, but these are my feelings pretty strongly. And I'll see if you agree, disagree, or have a different input. So number one, you've got several different kinds of brokerages. All right. You've got brokerages that are designed strictly, the splits are one thing. We're going to do splits later if you want to do that. But let's just talk about how they're designed. A lot of brokerages are designed to run as puppy mills. They have large new agent training programs, and they're just kind of there to get you in and get you done. And somebody I know that has a very large team, when I say large team, I'm talking about like 100 agents at one point on a team. It was ridiculously large. And this is what he said to me now. It always bothered me. I said to him, I said, man, God, how can you have like 100, 120 agents that are working brand new like that? And he said, when people get a real estate license, they have one person in their pocket that already wants to buy. That person, they already know. It's their friend, their mom, their brother, whatever. And that's the little nudge they needed to get pushed over the hill to get that real estate license. And if I can just get my 50% of that one deal, I don't care what happens after that. And I thought to myself, holy crap, that is terrible.
My dad used to run dealerships, and he would always say...
Car dealerships,
yep. And he would always say, there's certain people in town, we won't say names, but they run brokerages this way.
Smiths.
Right? Like they run brokerages this way. And he goes, you just hire you, and out of your hire, 20% will succeed and be successful, but that other 80% will sit there and sell to their cousin. They'll sell 5 or 6 cars.
Yeah.
And then they're out. And that's the same thing with real estate is you can take 50%. I mean, some of these guys, by the time you take franchise fees, it's 60, 65%. And so, exactly. They make more money off of you as a new agent than, say, a middle-level agent that's worked their way on to better splits or stuff like that.
Well, so avoid the puppy mill, I think, is the first choice. But you've got to make a decision, and you've got to be honest with yourself about who you are. And the majority of people don't fall into the category which I'm about to describe. If you're coming out of an industry where you are heavily sales trained, I mean, you received a ton. If you used to sell Kirby vacuum cleaners door to door, okay, I'm in, dude. You're a machine. You know what you're doing. You're a timeshare agent. You're a grinder. I'm in. I mean, you probably got the sales aspect. You come out of the car business. Yeah. I love people that come out of the car business because they teach them how to grind. I love that.
The one knock on that is they're not used to a 30, 45-day close.
A perpetual closing process is something.
Right.
Yeah. A perpetual closing process is something they have to learn. But if you're someone that has a massive amount of not just sales, but also business experience, you were in management of something, you ran your own company, you did something, you're transitioning out of one thing into another, then I would say you really just need those classes. You need that stuff to learn the flow of the transaction, to learn the paperwork, and to learn the legality of the situations, not how to get sued. That's your 10% that succeeds in that in that arena. That's who makes it out of that group. Then you got everybody else that thinks they're that person. And these are people that, I don't know, used to hand off bottles of, tequila at a big nightclub in town, and we're making $150,000 a year for holding a sparkler.
But don't discount those people, because a lot of those people have relationships with people that are actually going to buy or sell homes.
I'm not discounting them. I'm putting those people in a different category. Yep. Those are people that have this kind of sub sales experience, working in the nightclubs. I love hosts from the nightclubs in Vegas. Those guys that run around all day and try to get you to come to their nightclub. I love those guys. Yep. They will talk to anyone. Some of my most successful agents that work for me have come out of that aspect. But those are people that need to go in category number 2. They're also not business people that run their thing. Now, the path, there's nothing wrong with that. I don't want to say one is better than the other. I'm just saying person A can go this path if they choose, and person B needs to go the other path. And what the other path is, you need to get on with a team. Now, what a team is a team in real estate is basically where you have a team leader that is mentoring you very intricately over what you're doing, and they're also providing you with leads, right? Now, the difference between a team and a brokerage that you're working at is if you're going to a class and there's a guy standing in front of the room, and he's teaching a class on how to be a real estate agent to a bunch of brand new agents, and he's going to make X amount of dollars whether you ever close a deal or not. Right. If you go to work on a team, and now you're working for a team leader that's making an investment in you. They're making that, they're actually spending money on leads that if they don't turn into deals, you are losing money. You have a much higher probability of success being taught by that guy.
Absolutely.
Or that gal, whoever that might be, working on a team that makes sense. So, I mean, Eric, you have a team. I know, and dude, you've been bringing on some people that are doing very, very well.
Absolutely.
So what do you look for in people, like a realtor that comes on a team? What do you look for there? What are you looking for?
So there's a lot of different aspects of what you look for. You obviously look for people with good personalities, people that you feel are personable, that can mesh with people that are coming in and out of their lives. and know that they make a difference of, a sustaining difference. But the last thing you want to deal with is people that are very needy, that don't want to learn on their own, right?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of different personalities that want to come in and out of the real estate business. Quite honestly, I've hired people, they've never done a deal, and they've gone away just as quick, right? So I make an investment with people with a little bit of money, a little bit of time, and then usually within the first 90 days.
Because you've kind of done both ends of this, because years and years and years ago, you were the sales manager at Merit.
I was.
So you were just making X amount of dollars whether people performed or not.
Yeah, plus commission on top of that. So yeah, there was some incentive for me to stay.
But you weren't losing. You weren't losing money. You weren't losing money. So now somebody comes to work for you.
It's all money.
Right?
Money
now you're losing money. Now you're losing.
But the one thing that I heard Eric once say to one of his team members, or I don't know if you're telling me.
Get the fuck out?
Yeah, pretty much. Get the fuck out of here. Hey, no. But, the one thing I hate that both of you guys are very good. You do this with the company.
It's the hair, right?
And
it's
you guys both have amazing hair. I don't. But, I heard Eric once said, you know what, like, I'm taking you on. I'm really excited, but I just don't want to give you false hope. Right. Like, this is not like the TV show. This is not, I hope you succeed, but there's a bigger chance. I think you were telling, was it Spencer or somebody that
it may have been one of the several that you've heard me interact with. But the last thing you want to do is set a false, unrealistic expectation.
Right.
You want to tell them up front that there's a very high probability that they're not going to succeed in this business. So in the grand scheme of things, you can put in 100% of the effort that they need you to, but unless they're willing to get to that next level, make the calls, make the engagement, go to the networking events, shake the hands, and do the work that's necessary, it's fighting a losing battle.
And I think that if you are a new agent, you really need to look at what are your leads, because everybody will say they have leads, and there is an array of what is considered a lead, right? Like, you guys actually give real leads. You guys spend, I don't know how much you spend, but I'm sure tens of thousands a month for your leads, where other people will say, well, here's somebody that just tagged me on Facebook. You know what I mean? So I think a new agent needs to really look at that team and see if they're a real team and if they really are invested in you.
Well, again, that goes back to one of my points, which, one of the points that I would make at my new agent symposium was one of the biggest mistakes you can make is assuming that your friends and family owe you real estate deals. Right. Like, just because you got your license, all of a sudden your friends are going to just show up in droves and be like, oh, class of Wednesday. Let me hire you to help me.
That's a great point, John, because when I first got into real estate, I refused to work with anybody that I knew from a friend or a family
because you'll screw it up.
Because I'd screw it up, and then all of a sudden I don't have that friend or my family member to count on in the future, or to be my friend or family member.
No,
right?
it is,
I really want them
to
be close to me, as opposed to just going on a real estate deal.
And the deals kind of get ugly at that point, because they're not a lot of times honest with you. Maybe they have some financial hardship that they don't want you to know about. So,
they know. But here's the thing: they know you're new. You're new. So, you're going to bullshit them? Be like, oh, I went to school and now I have my license and the ink is still wet, so I know how to do housing.
That's exactly anything. Right. And that's some of the things that you and I bring to the table, because at least with our agents, especially from a newer aspect, if they don't have much training, they can fall back and tell the people that they're dealing with, listen, my team member or my team leader has 22 years worth of experience behind me. Yeah. There's never going to be a line or a T crossed or a I dotted that they don't know about. So you're in excellent hands. Yes, I'm going to be your point of contact, but there's never going to be anything done that doesn't go past the eyes of my team.
Well, all of that comes to point number one, which is, if you're brand new in the business, don't bullshit people into selling to make it look like you've been doing this longer than you have. Don't. It doesn't serve any purpose. But associate yourself with a human that has been doing it for a long time, so you can leverage their experience. Absolutely. A lot of people think you need to leverage a brand. Like, dude, just because you work at a brand that I see on TV, I still know you've been doing this from Tuesday. I still understand that.
Well, no disrespect to you, right? There's people that work at Simply Vegas. I've never heard of them in my entire life. Yeah. Not saying that they're anything bad, but just because they work for Simply Vegas doesn't really impress me.
Yeah.
Right. Like, let's talk for a little bit. Let's see kind of what your qualifications are. And
I think the brand carries a little cachet.
Don't misconstrue what I'm saying, right?
Yep.
It absolutely does. And you're absolutely
and
right. But there are people that, just because they work for Simply Vegas, that it's supposed to hold some water.
No, but you know why it holds water? And I'll tell you why it holds water. I'm going to counterpoint your point, sir. It holds water because most real estate brokerages out there have their hiring qualifications are, do you have a pulse and can you pay my monthly fee? If you pass those two tests, come on down, be part of what we do here. We turn away more people than we take in because you have to have certain certain production requirements.
1,000%.
You have to have certain experience. We don't have a new agent training program here. The reason we don't have it is because I don't believe in it. I can look at the math and say, that's a 90% failure data set. I don't want to participate in that business. It's a waste of my time and my money. But if we go after strictly experienced agents, so the reputation of our company, maybe you've never heard of the agent, but the fact that they're working here, people understand they do a certain amount of business because they wouldn't be able to work here if they didn't. Because unfortunately, twice a year, the purge comes.
Absolutely.
and
that is what I was just going to say next.
20 people.
There's been certain people that have worked here that John and I have sat down and we know the people that aren't going to make it towards the next purge.
Yeah.
Right. So.
And I think it is. I always tell people the brand. We're not talking about personal branding now, but
we're going to get there.
We will. But when I go refer,
not trying to beg on
no. When I go refer,
it's so important for a new agent, though.
When I go to refer a outside source deal, like my brother in LA wanted to sell his house.
Sure.
I will not go to anybody at Keller Williams.
Now you're smashing other brands.
No.
The thoughts and feelings of Colt Amidan do not reflect the bows of the Power Move.
It's not that. It's because I don't know who's their top agents, right? And I know they do take new agents. Where if I go and say, okay, I need a boutique shop that's dealing with higher end stuff, I know I could really pick, like our office, you could pick anybody and get quality stuff. And unless you know who's doing what at these brokerages, again, not a bad on, not bad mouthing anybody.
It's a huge benefit for us, especially working at Simply Vegas. We have that back agent to whereas every single person that we work with, which is over 500 agents at this point, if you need an agent in another city, chances are one of our agents has someone that they can refer that's going to be lights out, the exact person that you need.
Well, here's case in point. Right? About reputation carries itself. Who would you say are the most famous real estate agents in the country right now? Who's the most famous in the country?
Hilton.
No, agents, actual agents, not companies, actual agents.
Oh, what's his name?
Talking about Mauricio?
Oh, not Mauricio.
Well, from the agency.
Bansky.
Yeah, from the agency.
What's Paris's father's name? Rick Hilton.
Case in point, the most famous.
Rappaport.
I was going to say all the guys on $1 Million Listing are the most famous right now. Ryan Serhan, those guys. Yeah. And I don't want to get into specifics with who and what and how much because some of that's NDA'd, but multiple times, people that appear on those shows have reached out to us with Las Vegas clients because of who our company is.
Sure.
And that makes me incredibly happy that the reputation we have out in the market, like the guys are the most famous real estate agents for whatever reason from television across the country seek us out when they have a client for Las Vegas.
And that's what I was
kind
of saying is they're not looking for really as much as the brand is who's doing what. And your brand is who's doing what, right? Yeah. Like you look in LA, you got the agency does stuff, things like that. But I think it's so important for people to realize, don't look at just the name. Yep. Look at who's the broker and finagle your way onto a team, like of a top team. If you can get into a top team, like one of your guys' team, you go from having a 10% success rate to having an 80% success rate.
And again, that's why we really focus on teams here. It's why we really focus on, if you're a new agent, it's the only way you can come to work at our company is if you do that. That's why I started in the business. Million years ago, when I sold out my position in the tech firm, I was just kind of sitting around Tampa doing nothing. Kendra Todd was like, you can't sit around and do nothing. I'm like, well, you don't really know me very well because I'm really happy doing nothing. But I was like, she's like, come sell real estate, it'd be fun. And that's how I got in the business. And, when I started, I was on a 50-50 split to Kendra, who was one of my dear friends, and I was still in a 50-50 split to her. And that's how I started. And I believe that being in that really close one-on-one mentorship situation is what's best for you if you're coming out. However, if you want to, you want to plant your own flag, better than I do, you want to go out, that's awesome. We're going to take a quick break. And when we do, we're going to come back and talk about the importance of how to build a personal brand as a new agent, what you need to do, who you need to focus on, and how you get your name out there in a repetitive way. We'll be right back. Hey, it's John Gafford. If you want to catch up more and see what we're doing, you can always go to thejohngafford.com, where we'll share any links that things we talked about on the show, as well as links to the YouTube where you can watch us live. And if you want to catch up with me on Instagram, you can always follow me at thejohngafford. I'm here. Give me a shout.